Hello, everybody. It's Heather Nichols here, and this is part 4 in a 5-part video series on do less, create more. 5 ways to make your business grow and grow and grow. Very different energetic tools for creation and for business that for me have worked better than anything that I've ever done. Once I found the tools of access consciousness and the joy of business, and I started using the tools and applying them in my business, I was amazed by what showed up. And one of the things that is really one of my favorite, I guess I would say it's a tool, but it's really like a massive invitation from the joy of business and from access consciousness, is to trust what it is that you know. You are your greatest advisor, and you are actually an expert on your business. When I started my business, I was a psychotherapist at the time, and I also owned a movement studio back in the late 90s. And I really believed that I had absolutely no idea what I was doing with business. I hadn't studied business. I hadn't gotten a degree in business. I hadn't had any sort of formal business training. And I sought out a lot of coaching, and the coaches that I had, told me to do all kinds of things. And I did those things, and they didn't really work. They didn't grow my business the way that I knew that was possible. And I still really, nobody had invited me to consider that I might actually know something about business. I just believed that I didn't because I didn't have a degree. And surely there were people out there that were experts about business far more than I was. I knew how to be a therapist. I knew how to teach movement. I knew how to facilitate people with their bodies, but I hadn't been trained in business. Well, the amazing thing was when I started using the tools of access and the joy of business, and I think I might have mentioned this in a previous video, my income just started to exponentialize. Like, I think I doubled it, and then I doubled it again the next year, and then I doubled it again. It was amazing what happened with the growth of my business when I started to trust me and see myself as the expert in my own business. By the way, also something I recommend doing with your body. That's a story for another time, but seeing yourself as an expert on your own body can yield massively for you. But there are things that we know, each of us, and we don't give ourselves credit for knowing those things. There are things that we just have a sense of, like if you have a business, or, if you're employed, if you're an employee somewhere, or even just like the business of your life and living, get a sense right now of things that you know that you could be doing, that if you did them would cause your life to expand, your business to expand, your work to expand in some way. It may not make any sense, but just get a sense of that. And sometimes it just takes a moment of looking at it and being like, what is it that I know that I could add or change or do or institute that would change things? And when you start to give yourself permission to explore that, and then to do it, to put it into action, it is so phenomenal what shows up. So often we just don't let ourselves go there. Like, we don't invite ourselves to know what we know, to be the expert. We just don't let ourselves go there because we just assume that we don't know what we're doing. And it's kind of like, well, yeah, maybe that seems like a good idea, but I'm sure it isn't, But what if it was? And what if you could give yourself the space and the depth and the breadth and the wiggle room to play? When we add things, when we choose things, when we do things in our businesses that are different, and that was the last video, be willing to be different. When we really let ourselves do that, we start to harness the uniqueness of what we are. And when we bring that forward in whatever it is that we're doing in our lives, our businesses, our work, there's such a sense of that being really like your superpower. The things that you know, the unique awareness that you have, that's your superpower. That's your special sauce. That's the gift of you that only you can bring. When you start to bring only those things that only you can bring to the world, to your work, to your business, based on this unique knowing of something that's available, that's truly your greatest wealth. And it will turn into financial wealth and growth of your business and your income, simply because that's just how it works, you know? And if you think about people that are doing business from a very different point of view, from a different perspective, like adding unique elements or ways of doing things or ways of functioning, it's always inspiring and such an invitation, and it's refreshing to be like, wow, this person isn't beholden to the rules and the regulations of how business is supposed to be done. What if there are no rules and regulations? What if they're outdated? What do you know that is so unique to you, that is an expression of you, that is so perfect for your business, your work, your life, that if you just let yourself go for it and run with it, would change so many things and exponentialize everything that you're creating. So please be willing to trust what you know, even if it feels like you're taking a massive leap of faith. Do it. Leaps of faith, from what I've seen in my own life and the lives of other people that I work with, they always yield so much more than we can imagine. And it's a fun way of functioning, and it's a pretty miraculous way of being. And you can only know what that's going to create for you when you're willing to give it a whirl. So have fun with it, whatever you do.